How's it? I'm Don, I'm alcoholic. Yeah, obviously I'm nervous. Woke up nervous this morning. I wasn't nervous last year because I didn't have to share last year. I wasn't here. Let's just get into it. So, yeah, I'm definitely alcoholic. And yeah, took me the longest time to get to a point where I could believe that I'm alcoholic and that I had to live my life differently. Yeah, just a bit from the beginning. School, primary school, all I can remember much from that was I spent most of my time trying to be the center of attention by just trying to be the joker, you know, loving the attention that I would get from people that would laugh at me, you know, doing funny things in class. And what I was actually doing was I was disrupting everyone else, including myself. And I think from class 1 already, my folks got called in by the principal, and I got put on Ritalin. So from the age of 6, I was on Ritalin, and I was on Ritalin all the way through primary school and a bit into high school. I remember getting into a lot of trouble, seeing child psychologists where I had to, after school, go and build blocks in front of this guy. I don't know why, but I had to do that. And then my mom would go in, and then they would have a discussion. And then every morning, my mom would give me the one tablet that I had to take, and then put the other one in my pocket, and like constantly remind me to have this one at lunchtime. And then sometimes I would remember to take it, sometimes I wouldn't. But yeah, and then obviously, you know, going into high school, I had to do the same. And I guess like everyone else, I had to, well, I didn't have to, but I was just very fearful. I spent all my high school career just trying to fit in, trying to please everyone, just trying to be part of the popular group. And I'll be honest, I'd go to any lengths to do that. You know, I would, yeah. And again, you know, I was in trouble a lot with the office. Yeah, and yeah, so anyway, I played lots of sports, which I enjoyed, and then I had my first drug at the age of, I think, 13 or 14, and enjoyed that. And my parents, or especially my mom, picked up very, very quickly that there was a change in me. And I remember her taking me to the doctor the one day for a urine test, and they sat me down once they got the results, and they said to me, "We're not upset with you, but we know about this and this and this, and we're going to help you." And all I remember about that was I knew very well that I was going to go once or twice or whenever go for drug tests, and yet I would still go and smoke. My thinking around that I would figure a way out of it. You know, and I came up with the most bizarre excuses for why there's still drugs in my system. And that's one thing I did throughout my childhood, up until, you know, even into active. I would lie through my teeth. The evidence would be right in front of me, and I just wouldn't take ownership of anything. Yeah. So yeah, that was my primary school and high school career, and then so lots of trouble, lots of using, and I remember straight after school, that was my ticket. I was like, okay, cool, I'm not in school anymore, I'm 18, my parents are enemy number 1, and I just have to move out so that I can do what I want to do. Because my mom and dad wouldn't let go of the whole thing, they were constantly on my case. I wonder how much money they actually spent on doctors and, you know, me going in for urine tests and blah blah blah. But anyway, started going on to other drugs, and I was already. I mean, I was working and I was earning a bit of a salary, but I was already pawning the TV to go to get money to go to the party. You know, I was already losing my phones. You know, making debt. And I really hadn't used for very long. And yeah, I just that's what I did. My parents weren't really part and privy to that because I was living on my own, and so they weren't there to see what was really going on and then obviously intervene. But I was with friends, and they also picked up very quickly that there's something wrong with Donovan. And I remember them confronting me a few times as well. I just brought it down to, you guys don't know how to party, and I know how to party, and if you guys don't want to party with me, I will find other people that will party with me, you know, and I did that. I started, you know, going from groups to groups to groups, and then I'd just like to fast forward. I did all the same stuff. I tried everything. I went to any lengths to use. I made debt. I stole. I had car accidents. I manipulated. Then I got to a point where I got caught for possession a few times. Spend the weekend in the holding cells. Phone my dad. Monday morning they would come with the money and a lawyer, and I'll stand in front of the magistrate. And I'd either be under house arrest or not. But I remember my mom trying absolutely everything to help me. They tried to control my finances. They tried to intervene at work so that I had people that I was working with, like keeping an eye on me. They tried all kinds of stuff. While this was all going on, the consequences became more and more severe, and I started getting blacklisted, obviously criminal records on more than one occasion, and then 1-2 week binges where I'd disappear for a week or two, wouldn't go to work, no one could get hold of me, phone was sold, dealer with the car, and there was one binge that really stuck out for me because I disappeared on like a bender I was using for a few days, and my MO was I never used at home or at my flat because I was either living with my folks, so there were people there, or living with a girlfriend, and she obviously didn't know what was going on, or she did, but I kept that from her. So I would just drive and orbit Durban and drive and drive and drive and drive and just kind of go where the wind blew me. And I remember this one incident where I ended up at a dealer. I was there for about a week and a bit, left my car with him. He used my car to go buy groceries. He actually put brakes in my car as well. And I was making debt, and I was taking loans, and I was paying it, and I was making debt, and I was taking loans, and I was paying it, to a point where he said, and then everything, the drugs were finished, he didn't want to give me more. I sat with debt, and I just sat at the guy's house. He fed me, him, his wife, and his kids, you know, like I was part of the family for a few weeks. But I was so scared because the drugs had worn off, and I was like, shit, I haven't been to work. This guy's got my car. You know, is my parents looking for me? Am I going to get fired now? Like, what's going to happen? And like, yeah, I was like, shit, okay, this is it, kind of thing. Funny enough, the O said to me, here's your car. I'm going to trust you. Bring my money back to me, but you need to go. And I remember feeling so relieved, you know, like that I could get out of that guy's yard and just go. And the plan was to go home. And I had this remorseful feeling of, okay, you know what, I've got a lot of shit waiting for me at home, but this is it. I'm going to stop now. And I had ample reason and consequences to really stop, and I really believed that I was going to stop. But I was on one side of Durban, and on the way going back to where I live in Warner Beach, I drove through another section of Durban and stopped at another dealer. And like, for a normal person, that they can't understand how that works. And I went through the same thing again. Left my car at him. He took me home, and I missioned up and down, up and down. I don't even know what happened after that. I don't know. But I had two similar situations of a week bender, going through all of that, and yeah, that's a good example of how powerless I am over this disease and over my drinking and my using. You know, like the book says, I suffer from a mental obsession, physical allergy, and like I said, after that first bender, I had enough evidence and enough reason to see that I have to stop. I need to go home, and that other thought would enter my mind, and I'd have no defense, and I would just go. And my Another MO of mine was, it's fine, I will sort it out later. So yeah, that's just one of many. I've been to lots of rehabs as well. I've been up to the one on the hill 4 times. The only reason why I think I went back so many times was I just wasn't ready. I wasn't ready to do the work. And you know, every time I went back because my parents wanted me to go back. There was trouble at work, so I needed to do something to save my job. My girlfriend at that time was threatening to leave me, so if I just go look for help, then when I come out, she'll be waiting for me. So those are the reasons why I went in, just to hide. Yeah, I just wasn't ready to do the work. I was hearing what the people were saying. You know, I stayed. I never decided to run away or to leave after 28 days. Just complied. I had this idea while I was there is, okay, cool. I can see what drugs are doing to my life, so I can add 1 and 1. But I guess like the book says, I couldn't conceive to myself that I was alcoholic, you know, and that means something, you know. And I left, and what I would do is I would go out and I would just behave the same way and just do the same thing, and obviously by doing that I'll be getting the same, you know, the same results. While I was there, I was constantly on consequences. I was on every single ban known to man, and the reoccurring theme was you can't take responsibility. So I'll do something wrong, which is fine, and these are your consequences, and you need to take responsibility. I mean, and I couldn't do that. I remember I had a group there once where people thought that I had gone out and used. So I was working and going back, but what really happened was I met up with my ex. What I could have done in that situation was go to my sponsor and say, listen, I've got a missed call on my phone, and when I phoned this number, it was Nicole. I didn't do that. I took it upon myself to go and sort out what I needed to sort out, and what I ended up doing was I ended up making the situation worse. So when I came back, I had the secret. Obviously, I didn't drink and use, but I had the secret, and it was eating up at me. People were asking me if I was okay. They were trying to dig to see what was going on, to a point where they thought I'd gone out and used and drank, because apparently my physical appearance was one of that. And anyway, long story short, they had a group for me to help me, to love me, just to get the truth out. And I sat in that group for 45 minutes and lied and lied and lied and lied and lied. And I remember at one point my face went completely red, because I knew every single person sitting in that group can see it. And I continued lying, and I'd been there for quite a while already, you know, and it shows you exactly where I was at. Anyway, that evening I went and I owned it, and I had to go and sit in that group and tell them, listen guys, I've been lying, this is what's been going on, and yeah, the rest is history. Yeah, and then okay, that was the first 2 stints, and then there was a big stint in between the 3rd and the 4th where I was out doing my thing. The drugs had changed into different drugs, things I thought I would never use, that I was adamant about, that I had I thought it was for people other than myself. And parents were kicking me out, only to take me back. Eventually I lost a job, the job number 28 or whatever. I've lost that job, and once again my parents were taking care of me. Yeah, same stuff, stealing from them. Stealing kind of progressed, because I'd really like steal, you know, every day. And then like almost every day my folks would come home and notice that there's money out of their wallet, or the TV's missing, or they found a slip from the pawn shop because the tumble dryer is gone. Like, just like real blatant stuff. And that, yes, you know what, that carried on for so long. I put my parents through so much hell. My mom was waiting for me to die. So she went and took a funeral policy out on me. Parents didn't want to come home from work anymore. They couldn't go away on holiday anymore. They didn't want me there at the house, but they also just couldn't really let me go because they didn't trust me. And like I said, every time I would come home, there was something missing. You know, I was selling my clothing. And then one day my mom will go and pack my clothing away and realize there's absolutely nothing in the cupboard. And then she would confront me and I would lie. And that was carrying on for so long. And then I'd you know what, yeah, so I did that over and over, and I'll fast forward to the last time I went into treatment, and I, same stuff, went into rehab the third time, went out, not even 2 months later, I was doing the exact same thing. And this time I knew I couldn't go home, so I didn't go home. And I'd break into my parents' house while they weren't there. I did that twice. And I remember the one day, I was told this afterwards, that my mom came home, noticed the TV's gone, and she wasn't like, oh no, we got broken into. Her first thing was, Donovan was here. Yeah, I'm just really so sorry for what I did to my folks. But anyway, and I was cruising around the streets. I was living in an abandoned house with people that break into houses, people that sell drugs, and I was there for a little while, a week or so. People were looking for me, and I remember sitting in that house, and I was like thinking about my childhood, thinking about all the shit that I'm in, thinking about like where am I going to go from here, thinking that all my opportunities, you know, to get well, I just felt so left behind. I felt left behind, you know. And I think for me, in that house, in that hole in the wall, not even a house, a hole in the wall, step 1, 2, and 3 happened for me. I knew I'd gotten myself there. I knew that I've got a problem, and I knew that the only way out was something stronger than me. But yet I still missioned, and I was plotting to break into a house because I was going through physical withdrawals, and somehow I ended up at a person's house that was in recovery and that I was in treatment with, and my plan was to go ask him for money. And when I got there and he opened the door, I just couldn't ask him. I just couldn't say, listen, can I please have some money? You know, I don't know what that was. But he let me in and he gave me a sandwich. And he made a few calls, and I didn't want to go back to treatment because I was too ashamed. People that were there at the moment were people that I was with, you know, because it wasn't long in between those stints. I was out and back very quickly. And this time, I got him back. They allowed me back on grace because I was there like 4 months the time before, and I don't know how they let me in. They let me in, and that's where it started for me. They let me in, and I had a bed to sleep in, and I had food to eat, and I think that was probably the biggest reason why I said, okay, fine, let me go. I had a pair of slops, black pair of shorts with cigarette burns in it, and a red shirt, and I felt broken and finished and ashamed. I couldn't look people in the eye. I was so fearful of being judged. I felt like a piece of shit, you know, not worth anything. And not only did I lose the car and the house and the family, I'd lost my dignity, I'd lost everything. And I went in, and they gave me a different sponsor. And I've shared about this before. I was thinking to myself, okay, cool, the sponsor I had before, you know, multiple rehabs, great, same drugs, great. Then they gave me another guy, and he was there like one time and got it, doof. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, like I don't know how he's going to help me. But yeah, and he did. One of the first things he said to me that stuck with me throughout my stay was, all you need to do is just take your hands off everything. Just take your hands off everything, just let it go. And it made sense to me. I've heard that saying so many times, but at that time it made sense, and that's what I tried to do. I had loads of willingness to do that. Whatever they threw my way, I would do it. And they let me dig in the dungeon to get some clothing because I didn't have clothing. They loved me, they fed me, they gave me a warm bed, and that's what they did. And yeah, concern groups are rough. Every time I walk in there, I feel like the way I feel now, nervous and anxious and uptight, and like, am I going to get blown out of the room today or not? There's so much about that place that is magical. I don't know. God definitely lives up there, and that was the start of my journey. And I'm so grateful that they allowed me to come back. I can't think of another place that would have done that for me, but they did it. And slowly got on with it. You know, all the things, all the stuff they suggested to me before, I had my own idea around it, and they suggested it to me the last time around, and I was like, yes, no problem, I can do that. I was just willing to, you know, like Josh said at the time, just hands off, you know. And yeah, I mean, I got so much to say about that place. I don't even know where to start, you know. I think it was easy for me then because I had nothing left. There was no more, there was no hidden door for me. There was no other way. And yeah, while I was there, my folks didn't want anything to do with me. So, I mean, from the beginning, it was Woolworth bags and new clothing and whatever I requested over the phone, it would come to a point where, I remember one Sunday I was sitting on the steps, parents were coming in, and yeah, like my mom and dad didn't come, and I knew why, I wasn't upset. But every Sunday that went by kind of dawned on me, and I was connecting to, I know why they're not coming, you know, and I know why I'm here. And you know, stuff like that. And I got on with the steps, and I got honest, and became willing. You know, they talk about the 3 indispensables. I did all of that. And then I got told, listen, halfway house. Something that they suggested to me the time before. And my excuse, I remember, was, no, I'm not going to go. I live here in Warner Beach, so I'm close to Scottsboro. I'll do all that stuff from my house, and yeah, it didn't work out that way, and boom. And then I actually said to my sponsor, I said to him, listen, I don't want to go, I want to stay longer. He's like, no, go. And I went, and that was a whole adventure on its own, you know. And that was like the start of, not primary treatment, but like being outside, going to meetings, fellowshipping, doing all the things I was supposed to do the last time around, which I didn't do. And I remember feeling like a brand new born baby. I had to do everything over again. I had to walk the streets to find work. I had to experience the no, we're not looking for anybody. I had to experience walking from place to place. I had to experience buying my own food and living within my limitations and my reality. But through all of that, I was just so damn excited. My first job was at the DVD store. And I was like, yeah. Because I went in there, back to rehab, and I was like, I'm never going to get a job again. The police is looking for me. If I stay here forever, it's fine. At least I have, you know, because there's nothing left for me. I can't see myself going anywhere after this. All I wanted, I wasn't even thinking about really too much about what's going to be in the future for me. I just wanted to stop using, you know, I just wanted the pain to stop. I just wanted to get away from where I was at. I just wanted it all to stop. And yeah, and I'd walk to the DVD store, do my job, not steal out of the till, be at work on time, don't leave before work was finished. And actually just do what the bloody boss told me to do, you know. And I did that. And it was great. And then from there, I went to the restaurant and did the same thing, you know. And it was fun. I'll never forget those days, you know, like if I look at my life as like now and back then, it was so simple. I just had to do recovery. The job was just a job. The money was just the money. It didn't matter how much I was earning or what work I was doing. It was just about making amends and doing it differently compared to how I did it last time. And it worked. But yeah, my ship wasn't so shiny. I like also, this self-will thing is a bit of a bitch. I keep taking it, I keep doing my own thing. And I've got many examples. I'm not going to really go into details, but I knew very well what the rules of the halfway house was. I knew what the consequences were of doing what I shouldn't be doing, and sometimes I went and did it anyway. The difference was, I knew there was change in me, because as soon as I started acting out on these defects, started becoming dishonest, started doing my own thing, I started feeling uncomfortable. And I was so new into it that I was like, oh shit, I'm going to relapse. Oh shit, it's going to go back to what it was like. I just need to tell someone the truth. And I did it. And I got shown grace, and I got shown love, and I got given opportunity to take responsibility and change it. And yeah, I bumped my head a few times, but I kind of experienced unconditional love when I was doing that stuff. I think the reason why I managed to work through those things was, yeah, I wasn't perfect and I was taking chances, but I just got honest about it, I guess. Something that I couldn't do, in active. And yeah, then I'll fast forward a bit more. Gifts of recovery started coming around, like they were saying. They would tell me in treatment, I was sitting in Don's group, and they would say to me, you'll get to a point where there's not enough hours in the day, which is absolutely true. And God was giving me all these gifts which come with responsibilities, which come with its own pressures in His own time. He was, and the new job came, and opportunity to do a bit of studying came, and I hope I have this all in the right order. And stuff beyond my wildest dreams started coming true. Like I said just now, when I walked back up that hill, up that driveway, I was like, this is it. I don't know, nothing ever good's going to happen for me. And it's been the exact opposite. And they continue happening. I'm in a job now where I have lots of room to grow. In the beginning, I absolutely loved it. Now I only love it like 75% of the time, because it's hard, it's demanding, and there's lots of pressure involved. And but it's like I don't know how I got here. I don't know how this happened, and I don't know how it happened, but it happened. And there's something else, yeah. So basically, started doing this work, started earning a bit more money. Parents were in my life again. My sister had given birth to her first child, who's my nephew, Luke, and I started becoming a part of their lives. What I was doing in active was I was in and out. No one ever knew or could project. They just never knew what was going to happen with me. 1 minute I'll be there, full force, doing what I needed to do, and the next minute I'll just be gone, like completely off the map. One of the things I really tried to do when I started getting better was actually staying in their lives, doing, if I say I was going to do something, and then actually do it. And slowly they started relying on me, slowly they started depending on me. The things that I had lost, my dignity, values, that all started slowly coming back. So, today I have everything that was gone. I have that back and more, and it's even better. My relationship with my family and my nephew and all that is fantastic. I speak to them every day. When my mom and dad needs help, I'm there to help. But about the work thing, so this was a big turning point for me. So basically what happened was they said to me, you need to go and work there. And just out of the blue, they put me on an airplane, and I went, and I ended up going to a place called Witbank in Mpumalanga, and I had no idea what was going on. It's the first time that I had been out of Scarborough or Durban, you know, and my initial reaction was, I don't want to go. I don't want to be here. And I was finding every way I was finding a way to come back, and it just wasn't working out that way. So I became very unhappy. I became very fearful. My conscious contact with God started slipping, and a whole bunch of other things. I wasn't in a good place, and I wasn't doing anything about it. You know, yeah, there were 2 meetings a week there, and I met up with a guy he's my friend still today. I was doing meetings, but most of the time I was constantly sitting, waiting to go home, or trying to figure out how to go home. And every time it didn't work out my way, especially after some glimmer of hope, I would just fall back deeper and deeper into like some kind of, becoming resentful and self-pity, and to a point where everything was just about me and how I could just get back home. I started fighting with my friends back home. I was getting FOMO. FOMO turned into fear, insecurity, jealousy, that kind of a thing. And my life was like I was functioning, but it was becoming a mess. And I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't working any kind of a program. Like I said, I just showed up at meetings. But what was I really doing? I wasn't doing any step 10s, looking at my stuff. I wasn't talking to my sponsor, and getting transparent and getting vulnerable and getting honest and trying to get to like the root cause of what's going on. I wasn't doing any step 11s, no prayer, no meditation, nothing. And obviously, I wasn't helping anyone. I couldn't even help myself. And that continued for so long. And I just kind of lived for the last 4 days of every month because I knew that I would go home. And then I entered into a relationship while I was there, and that didn't start well. That started with me being completely and utterly mad. And then I started becoming jealous and insecure in that area of my life, and what eventually happened was I was just in a constant conflict with myself and others non-stop. And it all comes down to I had no acceptance around what was going on for me, and I missed absolutely everything around me, became very ungrateful, and I started looking for other works, like other jobs back home. I got to a point where this is not what I signed up for, and I'm going to quit and I'm going to come back home. Thank God it didn't work out that way. And I moved from there to another place to go and work in Joburg. And the more I tried to control the situation, the more I tried to become the actor. So if my company can just send me home, everything's going to be great. That went to, if they just started paying me more, then maybe I would accept the fact that I'm over here, and then things would be great. If my partner would just love me the way I think she should love me, or contact me when I think she should contact me, then I'll be able to handle the situation that I'm in. And the 3 pertinent ideas, that no human power could relieve my alcoholism, and I was searching high and low for something outside myself to fill this God-shaped hole that I have, limited things. Money, relationship, work, sex, whatever I could find, training, everything outside myself, to fill this God-shaped hole. And it didn't work, and it got worse and got worse and got worse. And then here's the God moment. Like, I eventually had to find another sponsor, after having to find another sponsor. And I found a sponsor in Joburg that I know very well. And then the one thing that I was fighting the most was not wanting to be where I was, wanting to be home. I found like another sponsor. And what came with that was I was just so, I was so tired, burnt up so much energy trying to control my life and trying to get to the ideas that I thought would make me happy, which wasn't working, and I got to a point where I was finished. Same place I was at when I walked up the driveway again. The only difference was I was clean this time. I don't need to drink and use alcohol and do drugs for my life to become unmanageable. I don't. I just need to, all I have to do is just continue down my own path long enough to get to that. And eventually I sat with him, we went through the book. I didn't have time to go through the steps again, through the green and gold. I went through the book, and we started from the doctor's opinion and went all the way through. I sat with him every night for about 2-3 hours, and it was actually quite amazing, because I can tell you one thing: it was the first time that I was able to sit and be present in any kind of a moment. If I was at work, I was thinking about my partner. If I wasn't thinking about her, I was thinking about trying to get home. If I wasn't thinking about that, I was trying to get more money. I was never in the moment at all. And that was the first time that I felt some kind of peace and some kind of serenity. And it wasn't long, because when I got back in my car and went back home, the head started ticking again, you know. But slowly over time, it started to subside. And we got to the part where they talk about the actor. Boom, I could identify with that. We got to the part where they talk about, you know, at the bottom, page 62, I had to quit playing God. I could relate to that, because that's what I was doing. And while all this stuff was going on, I was building up resentment. I was building up, especially resentment, but all kinds of things, to a point where I believed in my own shit. I thought I was right, and I was stuck in this resentment for so long that I couldn't even see my part anymore. There's a share that I listen to quite often where the guy talks about resentment, and he talks about how I would look at what that person did to me, and I'd play it over and over and over like an action sport replay thing, and I'll focus on that one thing. And the more I focused on that one thing, the more I thought, you know, I believed it. I was so stuck in the belief that I was right, that, yeah, the only way I can describe it is that it was painful. And I had to put that stuff on paper, down on paper, and I had to work through it, you know. And like it says in the book as well, I had to disregard that person's part entirely. And all the things that I had that I just could not accept, I started slowly accepting, you know. And then in hindsight, I can see how much I've missed. So I'll tell you, I remember years ago when I just started working and all that, I had a few friends that would travel. They would go here to this province, that province to work, and I always thought, that's such a lack of job, that, you know. I wish I could do something like that. And then God's like, boom, yeah, take it. And I'm like, no, I don't want it. And I get to travel the country. Last year, I was in 5 different provinces. Last year, I missed all of that. You know, currently working in Lesotho at the moment, and it's such a beautiful part of the country. And I mean, if I wasn't doing the work I'm doing, then I would have never gone there. So all these gifts and all these blessings that I've been receiving, I've been seeing it as a knock against me, if that makes any sense. So yeah, I'll work through those steps, and the one thing my sponsor said to me is, Donovan, you know, the only thing you have to go and do now is just go do the same for someone else. You know, while I was working through the steps, I could see clearly that, you know, I wasn't doing any kind of step 10s or 11 and 12s. I was just so detached from everything and everyone that the only difference was I wasn't using. And thank God for that. So the one place I didn't want to be was the place where I found that. But funny enough, prior to that, I would sit in meetings and I knew there was something I needed to tap into. I knew that being clean and sober is not enough. There's something more to this. And I'd hear people share about it, and I'd read it in the big book, and I just wasn't really willing or wanting to take hold of it, you know. And that's the spiritual side of things, you know, the helping others side of things. So yeah, being clean and sober wasn't good enough for anymore. I tried the self-knowledge thing while I was clean and sober. Yeah, I know what I need to do, but I wasn't putting it in practical application. And only once I started doing that again was I really working on my relationship with God, getting out of myself and throwing myself into trying to help other people. And I have moments where I get an opportunity to do that today, and I have moments where I don't. My life today is fantastic, and most of the time I'm happy. But when I'm not doing what the book tells me to do, I slowly start falling back into my default setting. You know, woe is me. I need more. I start searching for more. Yeah. What else? What's that time? Okay. So yeah, thank you for letting me share. And yeah, I just try really hard today just to constantly tap into the God stuff, the higher power stuff, because I know that when I'm not doing that, I'm doing my own stuff. When I'm doing my own stuff, I get what I've just kind of told you guys. All right, thanks for letting me share.